this. Let's see, is it showing the broadcast is live? Okay, it says it's streaming. Whoa, wait. Okay, it is still live. But why isn't it showing up? Reload the page. There it is. Okay. So let's go ahead and select that. Okay, click this. Pop out the chat bar. And we'll go ahead and put that over on the big monitor over there. Full screen that. Okay. So, greetings anyone and everyone who winds up popping in to watch this. While I'm waiting for people to actually arrive in the stream, let's just go on ahead and do a little reading, shall we? And for when anyone pops up, feel free to say hello over in the comments section over there. But for the video today, for this quick little live stream, sorry that I didn't give any prior notice to this, but this was sort of something that just kind of, came up. I'm going to try and be gentle about this. So, you all remember, don't want to spook it too much, our little spider friends there. Well, today, sorry little one, I don't mean to keep spooking you. There, I'll leave you with your food. But for this particular video, I decided that since, well, hold on, let's see if the volume's okay. Okay, the volume seems to be all right. I'm trying out a new setup. Basically, the webcam that I've been using, this derpy little piece of junk right here decided it wasn't going to work, and it's been having issues with the camera, the microphone. So for today, I'm using the actual camera from the laptop itself. Completely off topic, but also to help deal with the audio issues I've been having lately, I'm using an actual USB microphone. But anyway, now that I got that out of the way, so y'all might remember a certain, shall we say, certain video that I posted not too long ago. Let's see, let's go over here, go into my channel, boop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doop. Yes, yes, come on Creator Studio, let's go. There was a certain video that I created not too long ago wherein I was showing you guys my latest, how you say, acquisition. And that acquisition was my little arachnid friends there. Let's see now if I can just go ahead and add a new screen thing. So back to me for just a moment. Click on this and shrink myself up into the corner like this. Then get scene 4. Come on, why can't I get them both on the screen at the same time? Okay, back to me. Alright, so we're going to go back into sources here. Gonna go to browser. Okay. You've added a browser source. Browser source is to display web page, blah blah, is the URL page you like to display. Sorry folks, I'm still very new at this kind of nonsense. Ah, okay, I see it. I see it. Alright. So I do the thing, bop, copy that, bring it over here, put the URL in here, get rid of that, add this, wait for it. It should be there. Why isn't it there? Oh, it's loading. I don't know what specifically is going on here, and I'm hidden again for some silly reason. Hold on, let me see if I can't unhide myself. There we go. Maybe if I bring this down one. No, I'm still hidden. What is going on? Okay, but anyway. Browser. Okay, we're going to just go ahead and... Oh, that's not it. It's not it. Alright, hold on folks. I'm probably going to have to get rid of all this. Let's try just deleting that. I wish to remove the browser. Okay. Everything's going wrong. But at least the camera and the microphone are working. Okay. But anyway, in that video that I believe was just on screen just now, I was asking you, the viewing audience, I was asking y'all to help me name that little arachnid, our channel pet, as it were. And I gave y'all until the 13th, which was yesterday, to help me come up with a name. And unfortunately, y'all didn't come through on that. I don't know why precisely, but just no one threw out a name. No one gave me a name for the poor little thing. So that's what we're here to do today. We're going to try and come up with a name for the little one over here. So, yeah. It's probably one thing that I can change. Go to Edit Video. And while that's popping up, let's go to the title, update that real quick. Oh, don't worry about that, folks. That is one of my housemates making dinner with the oven. And whenever stuff gets done in the oven, whenever the timer goes off, that beep, beep, beep is the sound it makes. Alright, so now we go back to this. And then we go back to where it says my channel. There we are. Ooh, 252 subscribers. Nice, nice. Okay, then I go back into here. Get the volume back up to 100% where it was. And doot doot doot. Apparently I'm still the only one viewing, and that's okay. Not everyone has to like my content. All right. So, come on people, come on my viewing audience. Tell me, what do you think the name should be for our little arachnid friend there? The other part of the reason why I decided to make this video is decided to start this live stream is, for one, I want to interact with my audience. So, hello audience, who's probably not watching right now, because first, I don't know what y'all's deal is. There's over 252 of y'all, and for whatever reason, a lot of the time when it comes to these streams, I think at most during an actual live stream like this, not counting my Thankmas live stream, 3, 4, 5, I think I've gotten up to 5 of y'all, 5 subscribers who actually came into the stream, actually stuck around for a bit, chit-chatted for a while, but that was it. It's because I'm not using the puppets, isn't it? Oh well. If that's the thing, let me know. If any of my subscribers are actually watching right now, in the chat section, say hello. Or better yet, give a name for the spider. It can be a male name, could be a female name, could be, right down the middle, could be unisex. Just help me out with this. A couple of the names that I've been thinking of for the little goober are Fang, because, spiders and they got fangs. Spot, because it's a bold jumper that happens to have like some orange spots on its back end. I've also thought of a couple other different names, but I want y'all to decide. I want you guys out there in internet land to help me come up with a name for the little goober. So if anyone's actually watching this, aside from myself, go ahead and throw a name out there. And while you're doing that, as I alluded to initially, I'm going to do a little bit of reading. Let's see. Going to be from the Scary Stories Treasury. Oh, I got a burp coming up, so sorry about that. Now then, I'm going to start with the prologue. The prologue? The introduction on one of the first pages. Strange and scary things. Pioneers used to entertain themselves by telling scary stories. At night they might gather in somebody's cabin or around a fire and see who could scare the others the most. Some girls and boys in my town do the same thing today. They get together at somebody's house and they turn out the lights and eat popcorn and scare one another half to death. Telling scary stories is something people have done for thousands of years. For most of us, for most of us, like being scared in that way. Since there isn't any danger, we think it's fun. There are a great many stories to tell. There are ghost stories. There are tales of witches, devils, boogeymen, zombies, and vampires. There are tales of monstrous creatures and of other dangers. There are even stories that make us laugh at all this scariness. Some of these tales are very old, and they are told around the world. And most have the same origins. They're based on things that people saw or heard or experienced or thought that they experienced. Many years ago, a young prince became famous for a scary story he started to tell, but did not finish. His name was Mamilius, and he probably was 9 or 10 years old. William Shakespeare told about him in The Winter's Tale. It was on a dark winter's day that his mother, the queen, asked him for a story. "A sad tale's best for winter," he said, "and I have one of sprites and goblins," not to be confused with the beverage Sprite. "Do your best to frighten me with your sprites," she said. "You're powerful at it." "I shall tell it softly," he said. "Yond crickets shall not hear it." And he began. There was a man dwelt by a churchyard, but that was as far as he got, for at that moment the king came in and arrested the queen and took her away. And soon after that, Mamilius died. No one knows how he would have finished his story. No one knows how he would have finished his story. If you started as he did, what would you tell? Most scary stories are, of course, meant to be told. They are more scary that way. But how you tell them is important. As Mamilius knew, the best way is to speak softly, so that your listeners lean forward to catch your words, and to speak slowly, so that your voice sounds scary. And the best time to tell these stories is at night, in the dark, and the gloom. It is easy for someone listening to imagine all sorts of strange and scary things. Princeton, New Jersey, Alvin Schwartz. Alright, so let's move on to the first chapter in this book, which is humorously just titled, "Ah!" This chapter is filled with jump stories you can use to make your friends jump with fright. And who knows, while I'm reading this, we might get some scary spooks of our own. Because in my office here, this is where a lot of the odd, eerie phenomena has happened. Like when I was talking about stuff for one of these Oxtoberfest videos, that was one of the reasons why the light in here fizzled out. I still don't know what happened. I just had a box of Goosebumps books that I got in the mail. I was really excited about it, and I was talking about how I could read them for Oxtoberfest, and then bzz, the light just fizzled out, and it's never worked right since. The fan still works, but regardless, something interesting might happen while I'm reading these. So, and as I'm reading these, feel free to give me a name for the spider over there. Or over here, right up here. So the first story, The Big Toe. I'm going to do my best to do my own interpretation of these, but I've got a feeling I'm going to start slipping into like the George S. Irving audiobook version of these stories as I go along. So while I'm reading, folks, think of those names that spider could have. Now then, The Big Toe. A boy was digging at the edge of the garden where he saw a big toe. He tried to pick it up, but it was stuck to something. He gave it a good hard jerk, and it came off in his hand. Then he heard something groan and scamper away. The boy took the toe to the kitchen and showed it to his mother. "It looks nice and plump," she said. "I'll put it in the soup, and we'll have it for supper." That night, his father carved the toe into 3 pieces, and they each had a piece. Then they did the dishes, and when it got dark, they went to bed. The boy fell asleep almost at once, but in the middle of the night, a sound awakened him. It was something out in the street. It was a voice, and it was calling to him. "Where is my toe?" it groaned. When the boy heard that, he got very scared, but he thought, it doesn't know where I am. It will never find me. Then he heard the voice once more. only now it was closer. "Where is my toe?" it groaned. The boy pulled the blanket over his head and closed his eyes. I'll go to sleep, he thought. When I wake up, it will be gone. But soon he heard the back door open, and again he heard the voice. "Where is my toe?" it groaned. The boy heard footsteps move through the kitchen into the dining room, into the living room, into the front hall, and then slowly they climbed the stairs. Closer and closer they came. Soon they were in the upstairs hall. Now they were outside his door. "Where is my toe?" the voice groaned. His door opened. Shaking with fear, he listened as the footsteps moved through the dark toward his bed. Then they stopped. "Where is my toe?" the voice groaned. "You've got it!" The big toe also has another ending. When the boy hears the voice calling for its toe, he finds a strange-looking creature up inside the chimney. The boy is so frightened he can't move. He just stands there and stares at it. Finally he asks, "What you got such big eyes for?" The creature answers, "To look you through and through." "What you got such big claws for?" "To scratch your grave." "What you got such a big mouth for?" "To swallow you whole." "What you got such sharp teeth for?" "To chomp your bones." After you give the last line, pounce on one of your nearby friends. That's what it says in the book. Okay, the next story is called The Walk. And we're not talking about for cooking like Japanese or Oriental style food. We're talking about moving your legs and stippy-stepping. My uncle was walking down a lonely dirt road one day. He came upon a man who was also walking down that road. The man looked at my uncle. My uncle looked at that man. The man was scared of my uncle, and my uncle was scared of that man. But they kept on walking, and it began to get dark. The man looked at my uncle. My uncle looked at that man. That man was very scared of my uncle, and my uncle was very scared of that man. But they kept on walking, and as they came to a big woods, it was getting darker, and the man looked at my uncle, and my uncle looked at that man. The man was really afraid of my uncle, and my uncle was really afraid of that man. But still they kept walking, and deep, deep down into the woods they went. It was getting darker. And the man looked at my uncle, and my uncle looked at the man. The man was terrible scared of my uncle, and my uncle was terrible scared of... Okay. Another classic. What do you come for? Yeah, we'll read this one and then I don't know what precisely we'll do, but we'll keep on going. Remember, keep thinking about those names, folks. We need a name for this spider. We need a name for this little jumping arachnid. What do you come for? There was an old woman who lived all by herself, and she was very lonely. Sitting in the kitchen one night, she said aloud, "Oh, I wish I had some company." No sooner had she spoken those words than down the chimney tumbled 2 feet from which the flesh had rotted. The woman's eyes bulged in terror. Then 2 legs dropped to the hearth, attached themselves to the feet, and then a body tumbled down, then 2 arms and a man's head. As the old woman watched, the parts came together into a great gangling man, and the man danced around the room. Faster and faster he went. Then he stopped, and he looked into her eyes. As the old woman watched, I went back a little bit, into her eyes. "What do you come for?" the old woman asked in a voice that was small and shivered and shook. "What do I come for?" he said. "I come for you!" These are really some silly stories. I will admit the main draw for these stories is literally that. The drawings. Look at that. It's a chimney with a pair of feet dangling down from it. Alright, so now I'm going to dip through the book as thus and select a story at random. And hopefully I'm not going to see a specific piece of artwork, because then it'll give me nightmares. Oh, here's a nice one. Okay. Strangers. A man and a woman happened to sit next to one another on a train. A woman took out a book and began reading. The train stopped at a half-dozen stations. It'd be weird if the man stopped at half a dozen stations. Whew. I'm a little tired. Pardon me. The train stopped at a half-dozen stations, but she never looked up once. The man watched her for a while, then asked, "What are you reading?" "It's a ghost story," she said. "It's very good. Very spooky." "Do you believe in ghosts?" he asked. "Yes, I do," she replied. "There are ghosts everywhere." "I don't believe in them," he said. "It's just not... Pardon me. I don't believe in them," he said. "It's just a lot of superstition. In all my years, I have never seen a ghost. Not one." "Haven't you?" she said, and vanished. Let's see. Okay, here's another good one. Is something wrong? Well, ladies and gentlemen, is something wrong? You doing all right out there? I hope y'all are doing okay tonight. It's one of those weird nights. I don't know why I said that, but it's just one of those weird kind of nights. I'm going to read this one, and then we'll get to a little bit more about the arachnid in question. So, buckle in, buccos, because here we go. Is something wrong? A car broke down late at night out in the middle of the country. The driver remembered passing by an empty house a few minutes earlier. I'll stay there, he thought. At least I'll get some sleep. He found some wood in the corner of the living room and made a fire in the fireplace. He covered himself with his coat and slept. Toward the morning, the fire went out, and the cold awakened him. It'll be light soon, he thought. Then I'll go for help. He closed his eyes again, but before he could doze off, there was a terrible crash. Something big and heavy had fallen out of the chimney. The man fallen out of the chimney. It lay on the floor for a minute. Then it stood up and stared down at him. The man took one look and started running. He had never seen anything so horrible in his life. He paused just long enough to jump through a window, and then he ran and ran and ran and ran until he thought his legs would burst. Legs? His lungs. Well, his lungs and legs. As he stood in the road panting, trying to catch his breath, he felt something tap him on the shoulder. He turned and found himself staring into two big, bloody eyes. Two big, bloody eyes in a grinning skull. It was the horrible thing. "Pardon me," it said. "Is something wrong?" I kind of like stories like that where it's like the villain or the ghoul or whatever. It's like a normal guy. It was just hanging out in the chimney or whatever, and then just poof, it lost its footing and fell down. It's like, oh crap, are you awake? And then the guy looks up and it's like, And it's probably also like, and then he goes running. And it's like, wait, is there something behind me? Should I be running too? And then the thing follows the person and whatever. Just, I find that kind of thing silly. But let's see. I'll quickly come up with the next story. Just boop, boop, boop. Yes. All right. I'll read Clinkety Clink as the next story. But for the moment, I'm going to pause there, use this tissue to mark my spot in the book, because it's a fairly thick book and I would lose my place. So anyway, getting back onto the topic of this video, naming of the spider. So, because I'm sure a lot of you haven't watched that video, I'll give a quick recap. Not too long ago, I was cleaning up the front yard, getting things ready, to start decorating for spooky season, Oktoberfest season, Halloween and all that. And I was taking down a set of table and chairs that we had sitting out front, in case we wanted to sit outside and just enjoy this summer, with big air quotes on enjoy. Excuse me again. Because it's stupid hot outside and you'd prefer to be inside where there aren't bees and all kinds of silly bugs and stuff trying to get on you and go in your ears and stupid stuff. But as I was taking the table apart, I noticed on one of the legs that there was a little black something or other that went like and just like disappeared up onto the under the table while I was taking some of the chairs out to the garage. So I saw that, I was like, huh. But, I just kind of let it be. And then I went back up and got the other set of chairs, took them down. I got the table, and I started disassembling it. Just put on its side, take off one leg, boom. Next leg, boom. And then when I got to the third leg, that's when I noticed a little movement. And I looked, and there was the little goober, like up in one of the little square-shaped compartments on the bottom of the chair. Name it Bloody Duty. Name it Bloody Duty. Okay, that's one suggestion, and I do like that suggestion. But getting back to the origin story for the little spooter there. So I saw the little thing just hiding up underneath the table, and part of me was initially like, you're trying to make me say the name 3 times, aren't you? Well, we'll see how it goes. But anyway, getting back to what I was saying, I saw it just hanging out there, and initially I was like, it's a spider. Now, normally, I'm not a huge fan of spiders. No offense, little one. But with jumping spiders, there's something about them. They've got this kind of cuteness to them because of the the 2 big eyes right in the front, almost like a cartoony puppy dog. So I saw that and I was like, I could just leave it be. I could, just like knock it off the table and have it scurry off into the grass somewhere to go find somewhere else to, dwell. Or I could do something kind of spontaneous, something kind of silly. I got another one. Will I make more dummy videos? You love them? Well, I'm very glad to hear that. High quality bread. And as I alluded to when I was messaging you, or not messaging, when I was replying to your comment before, I do have several ideas in the past. Also, in case I didn't already just say it, thank you very much for the kind words. I've got ideas for more puppet videos. It's just having the time to actually do them and working around my housemate's schedule because our schedules kind of conflict with each other. But there will be more of those as time goes on. I decided that I would do something kind of silly, and I got that little plastic container it's sitting in. I think it's actually like one of those off-brand Beanie Baby protective cases. Because I've been watching videos online on like the special care and breeding, and breeding, but mostly the care and keeping of jumping spiders as pets. And I saw someone else using a container like that for their spider habitat because apparently with jumping spiders, they like to like make their little web cocoon things at the top of their enclosure, and having one like that leaves you plenty of room down at the bottom for like having what you call it bedding and stuff. You're welcome. Oh. But having bedding and stuff take as long as... Sorry, I've got one of my lights like right in front of the TV that I'm viewing the comments on. Take as long as you want. All right. Thank you for that. Let's see. But anyway, I saw that kind of a container could be used as a decent habitat for jumping spiders. And so I was like, So I took the table carefully, because I didn't want to spook the thing and have it drop off into the grass and go somewhere else. After I got the other the other leg off, I took it down to the garage and I set it up. The spider was still on it, of course. And then I went inside the house and I found this container and I brought it back down to the garage after cleaning it up, of course. And when I got back to the garage, at first I thought it got away. I thought it to like darted off on the ground somewhere and went to find another place to live, and I was a little just like, But then I noticed right up at the top of the table, like between the table and the wall, like two little legs and like the little spider face like boop pop out. I was like, there you are. So I very carefully took the table, moved it along a little bit. Oh, what's this? What was my favorite video? My favorite of the puppet videos? While I'm waiting for your reply. And I took the container, popped the bottom off, put the long top end over top of it on the wall, and I just kind of sat there and waited. And eventually, it crawled up inside the container and stayed there long enough for me to pull the container off of the wall, take the bottom half and boom, put it together. And that was how I caught the lovely little buggy over here. And I've had it for a little while, as evidenced by that video, the say hello to the new channel pet. Mine is the... Hold on, I'm just going to bend this light down so I can see without having to go like... Mine is the Wait, oh, I know the one you're talking about. Alright, so... I would have to say my favorite of the puppet videos that I've done thus far, I think would honestly be at the one I did as kind of an intro bit to, what was it, A Night in Terror Tower, my Goosebumps book versus episode review. There's this little skit that I put in it, starring this goober right over here, Knucklehead Smith, where he gets... He gets the unalive penalty for something he did. It's never mentioned what he did, but he did something real bad. And so he got executioned. If you haven't seen that particular video, go ahead and go back and watch it. You don't have to watch the full thing, but knowing how much you like the puppet videos that I've done, I think you'll like that little bit at the intro, right at the beginning. And just to reiterate, the video... Sorry. I inhaled a little something. The video itself is Night in Terror Tower Goosebumps book versus episode review. Oh, your favorite was Friday? Friday. Which one was that one? One moment, everyone else. And also to you, High Quality Bread. Let's see here. New tab. YouTube. Go into my channel. Uppity-bup-bup-bup. Oh, no. Search. Oxleymations Friday. Because I think I know the... Oh, okay. That's the one I thought it was. You mean Friday night? accidentally just showed a little something. Oh, thank you. Or wait. If you're saying bless you because of the cough, that was actually a cough, but thank you regardless. I should be gesturing over here, not at your comments over there. I'm still getting used to this. But anyway, yeah, that one was pretty fun. Now, pardon me just a moment. My throat's starting to get a bit scratchy from whatever I inhaled. I think it's a fiber off of my hat. Sorry you had to hear that. Alright, okay. Now then, though. Yep. So, I've been holding on to our little arachnid buddy over here for a little while. No, wait, no, I wasn't talking about that. I was saying, yep, the Friday one was a bit fun to shoot. That was recorded at my old place, as you can probably tell, because, there's a weird green couch in the background and all that kind of nonsense. But one of the best things that I myself personally, excuse me, liked to record for that was the homage to, what is it? Pee-wee's Big Adventure. You're making a dummy video to show. I hope you don't fail it. Now, considering how many... Ugh, I don't know what's going on all of a sudden. I drank that water and now I feel kind of queasy. I think I chugged it a little too fast. But with the amount of puppet videos out there currently, unless it's like a one-to-one recreation of it, you're fine. Don't worry about it. And, well, even if it was, I'd probably just feel honored because, you took inspiration from one of my goofy little videos. But, yeah, one of the parts that I liked recording about that the most, I think, like I was saying, the large Marge recreation scene with, the one puppet's like, yes, indeed, that was the worst accident I ever seen. And when they pulled the driver's body from the twisted, burning wreck, it looked like this. And then it was, this for the head, just, and then Jerry's like, ah. I really enjoyed recording that bit. Not going to say it was easy, because that took multiple takes of me going like, ah, in the middle of the kitchen. But it was fun. It's just inspired. Okay. Like I said, that's absolutely fine. And as you're probably getting from this part, oh, you're welcome. But as you're probably getting by the fact that I'm responding to that now, there's a bit of a delay between, your comments and my comments. Alright, so anyway, regarding the little spider, so I've held on to it for a while now, and thankfully it has survived, because I just haven't really been able to find any bugs for it. Oh, spooky. Yeah, it was kind of spooky. But I wasn't able to find any bugs for it, because this time of year they're all, well, most of them are like hibernating or hard to catch. So today I was finally able to go to the store and pick up some stuff for it. Namely, if you see this little container right here, it's hard to gauge where I'm pointing. This container right here is filled with little mealworms that it's been, feeding off of. And I also picked up a couple of other little things. Like I picked up an actual, container to put it in. Also, I got this piece of cork bark right here. Where can I get a cheap dummy? I only have a basic slappy dummy. Name it Spidey. Well, kind of like Spidey. Spidey the Spider. I think it could make it work. Or Snappy. Snappy the Spider. Okay, I do kind of enjoy that name. But bites? kind of like the one villain from the Ninja Turtles. Spider bites. That could work. But keep those name suggestions coming. Toward the end of the video, I will pick one, and that will be the name of our channel pet. But as I was saying, I picked up this nice container, which I now see has a hair in it. And open that up, undo the little latch here. Get off of there. But I picked this up at the pet store today because I felt that, you know, if I was going to actually try to legitimately have a jumping spider as an actual pet, it deserved a better container than, well, that. And this one, it's going to be a lot easier. Or legs. I suppose legs could be another good name for it. Crawley. Yeah, I'll keep thinking on these names. Keep them coming. But I figured it would actually do well from a container like this, where it's got a thing on the front where I can actually open it up, instead of having to, you know, pop it open and risk the little thing getting squished when I put it back together. You mentioned Bloody Duty once already, although you spelled it with an IE the last time. Okay. Uh-oh. Got another hair stuck in this silly thing. So many hairs. Oops, that one's on the inside. Well, it does have some orange spots on it. It could probably do with the name Pumpkin. Okay, that one's gone, but now there's one. I'll worry about the hairs later. But anyway, I picked up this little habitat kit. No, that's silly. It doesn't even have my eyes. But yeah, I picked up this. Skippers. I'm loving the name suggestions. I gotta focus. Okay. I'll come back to those. Keep them coming. But I picked up this terrarium for it because I felt it needed a nice one that wasn't like airtight like that one is. And this one's got these nice little slits in the top to let in fresh air. But it's also nice and sealed so the little goober can't get away. I also picked up this piece of cork board, or cork bark, so it's got a little place where it can crawl around, and it's got a bunch of little nooks and crannies in it where the little thing can hide. And the whole reason why it's not in there presently, and why it's still in its other container, is because of the bedding that I chose for it. This one was recommended by a couple of those videos that I was looking at on jumping spider care and stuff. And I saw it at the store, so I was like, okay, I'll pick that up. But there's a catch to it, something I didn't know at the time. Spooky. I like spooky. Maybe I can do a combination of those names. But we'll get to that when we get to it. But one thing I did not know about this stuff at the time when I purchased it, I could name it Goober. It is a kind of a goofy spider, Goober Doober. But if you notice right along here, it has instructions on, you know, how to prepare this stuff. And apparently I'm supposed to take this like literal brick of this coconut compressed coconut fiber stuff and dip it into a pail or bucket of water, 4 quarts of water, and let that expand for 20 to 30 minutes. And then if I want to have this dry for the environment, for a little goober. I know that one. You could say that movie was pretty magic. Anthony Hopkins played very well in that film. But yeah. So if I want this to be dry for the little habitat, then I've got to give it about, how long did it say? Let's see it. Well, it doesn't say how long to do that, but it says to lay it out in the sun so that it can dry out again, which I think is just kind of silly. But, you know, what do I know? And the reason why I'm keeping it in the bag from the pet store is just because apparently that little brick, the packaging has a little bitty hole in it, so like the little coconut fibers are kind of leaking out of it. So I don't get those everywhere all over the house. It's staying in that little container over there for the time being. Alright. Make good videos, need more subs. I greatly appreciate those words. Thank you very much. And, you know, just give it time. Over the course of the last few days, I've gained 3 subscribers. Not that I've been, you know, keeping track or anything. But with time and with effort, I will in fact get there. Myers. Alright, well, for the moment, I'm going to drop back into the Scary Stories treasury and going to go ahead and read a couple more of these. Let those let those suggestions trickle in. Well, thank you. Well, here, before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and, again, carefully, because technically it's currently eating, and I use it because I'm not sure if it's a male or a female. I'm pretty sure it's a male, because the females are supposed to have, like, really big pedipalps, they call them. The weird little legs that are right next to the weird little mouth parts. But I'm going to be a little careful, and I'm going to bring it over so you can get a view of the thing if you weren't here to see it when I brought in from the camera before. Like I said, it's currently eating, so the thing I'm kind of amazed about is the fact that it was able to take on this mealworm that I put in there. The mealworm has shrunk considerably, considering that the little spooter has like sucked out so much of its fluids, but this thing put up a struggle. It was like as soon as the spider bit into it, it was like flailing around and stuff. Goosebumps. Oh, you mean like reading a Goosebumps book instead of the Scary Stories treasury? I can't talk right now. Maybe. But right after this, I'm going to be, like I said, gentle and careful, because I don't like interrupting the little one while it's eating. But so you can get a better look at it. Let's move that in front of my face so you can actually see it. And there's the mealworm, which is a lot smaller than it was originally. I mean, that thing shrank. Okay. Let's go ahead and put you back on top of the container for the rest of your food. There you go. There you go, little buddy. You're good. Yes, actually, I have a nice little collection of them. I have a rather odd collection of other Goosebumps merchandise as well, as evidenced by this non-fitted Goosebumps bedsheet from 1996. And I also have a couple of other little fiddly bits and pieces around here. Like this, for example. The Horrorland Horror Goosebumps collectible. Unfortunately, the batteries that were in it originally corroded a bit. So, although they were working, which was the funny thing, it's like it wouldn't make the scream that it was supposed to make, but the little red LED would like light them up, but it didn't do anything else. Ooh, why am I having indigestion all of a sudden? Are you saying the little one is the chosen one? It might be able to pull that name off. But yes, I do have those books. If you'd like, after the next story that I chose from the Scary Stories treasury, I can go and grab one of those books and I could read that for a bit. And while I await your reply, I take a drink of the water. Let's see. Who is my favorite dummy? And this is a weird question. Can you do a short show? I don't know what that was. Can I do a short show? Like, even like just, doing a quick little ventriloquism thing? Because I'll let you know right now, I'm not great at ventriloquism. Okay, so you would like me to grab a Goosebumps book. Alright, well, like I said, after this next story from the Scary Stories Treasury, then I'll go and grab a Goosebumps book, and I'm gonna grab one of those ones of the with the shorter stories. I forget what they're called right off the top of my head. I've got a couple of those, but I'll grab one of those because it would take a lot longer to read an entire Goosebumps book than to just read one of those little stories. So before I get to that point, the story I've chosen is titled Clinkety Clink. Yes. All right. I'll do a little something. But first, this story, one of those Goosebumps stories, and then we'll do a little bit of ventriloquism just for you. Well, of course I know I can move my lips. That's what I'm doing right now. It's trying to talk without moving my lips is where the problems begin. Alright. But anyway, clinkety clink. An old lady got sick and died. She had no family and no close friends, so the neighbors got a grave digger to dig a grave for her. As they had a coffin made. As was tradition in those days, they washed her body and dressed her up in her best clothes and put her in the coffin. Stories to give you goosebumps. Thank you. I could not remember that to save my life for some reason. When she died, her eyes were wide open, staring at everything and seeing nothing. The neighbors found 2 old silver dollars on her dresser, and they put them on her eyelids to keep them shut. They lit candles and sat up with her so that she would not be too lonely on that first night that she was dead. The next morning, a preacher came and said a prayer for her. Then everybody went home. Later, the grave digger arrived and took her to the cemetery to bury her. He stared at the 2 silver dollars on her eyes. He picked them up. How shiny and smooth they were. How thick and heavy. They're beautiful, he thought. Just beautiful. He looked at the dead woman. With her eyes wide open, he felt that she was staring at him, watching him hold her coins. It gave him a creepy feeling. He put the coins back on those eyes of hers to keep them closed. But before he knew it, his hands reached out again and grabbed the coins and stuck them in his pocket. Then he grabbed a hammer and quickly nailed shut the coffin. There, he said, now you can't see anything. Then he took her out to the cemetery and buried her as fast as he could. When the grave digger got home, he'd put the 2 silver dollars in a tin box and shook it. The coins made a cheerful rattling sound, but the grave digger wasn't feeling very cheerful. He couldn't forget those eyes looking at him. When it got dark, a storm came up, and the wind started blowing. It blew all around the house. It came in through the cracks and around the windows, and down the chimney. It went. And the fire flared and flickered and snapped and popped. The grave digger threw some fresh wood on the fire and got into bed. He pulled the blankets up to his chin. The wind kept blowing. It went. The fire flared and flickered and cast evil-looking shadows on the walls. The gravedigger lay there thinking about the dead woman's eyes staring at him. The wind blew stronger and louder, and the fire flared and flickered and popped and snapped, and he got more and more scared. Suddenly, he heard another sound. Clinkety-clink, clinkety-clink, it went. Clinkety-clink, clinkety-clink. It was the silver dollars rattling in the tin box. "Hey!" the gravedigger shouted. "Who's taking my money?" But all he heard was the wind blowing. Bzzz, 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 and the flames flaring and flickering and snapping and popping, and the coins going clinkety-clink, clinkety-clink. He leaped out of bed and chained up the door. Then he hurried back, but his head had barely touched the pillow when he heard clinkety-clink, clinkety-clink. Then he heard something way off in the distance. It was a voice crying, "Where is my money? Who's got my money? Who? Who?" And the wind blew, bzzee, bzzee, bzzz, and the fire flared and flickered and snapped and popped, and the money went clinkety-clink, clinkety-clink. The gravedigger was really scared. He got out of bed again and piled all of the furniture against the door, and he put a heavy cast-iron skillet on the tin box. Then he jumped back into bed and covered his head with the blankets. But the money rattled louder than ever, and away, way off in the distance, a voice cried, "Give me my money! Who's got my money? Who? Who?" And the wind blew, and the fire flared and flickered and snapped and popped, and the gravedigger shivered and shook and cried, "Oh, lordy, lordy!" Suddenly, the front door flew open, and in walked the ghost of the dead woman, with her eyes wide open, staring at everything and seeing nothing. The wind blew, bzzz, 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 and the money went clinkety-clink, clinkety-clink, and the fire flared and flickered and snapped and popped, and the ghost of the dead woman cried, "Oh, where is my money? Who's got my money? Who? Who?" And the gravedigger moaned, "Oh, lordy, lordy." The ghost could hear her money clinkety-clink, clinkety-clinking around in the tin box, but her dead eyes couldn't see the box, so she reached out with her arms and tried to find it. The wind continued on, bzzee, bzzee, bzzz, and the money rattled and went clinkety-clink, clinkety-clink, and the fire flared and flickered and popped and snapped, and the gravedigger shook and shivered and moaned, "Oh, lordy, lordy." And the woman cried, "Give me my money. Who's got my money? Who? Who?" "You've got it!" Okay, let's see. All right, so there we go. And, as I said I would, now I'm going to step off into the other room for a few minutes and pick up a Goosebumps book. So, one moment. Be right back. Oh, while I'm gone, let's see, where is the one that I'm looking for? Still there? If you're still there, give me a shout out in the comments. Uh, for whatever reason, I misplaced this. Apparently, I never put it back during or after the last live stream in which I read from this. And it turns out that I actually only have one of these books presently, and it's in completely, utterly garbage condition. But it is still perfectly readable for the time being. So, I mean, aw, thank you. Alright, so I'm not sure which one this is, but we have Even More Tales to Give You Goosebumps. It's one of the summer editions. Oh, duh, it's special edition number 3. It says right on the cover. Yeah, I noticed that myself. Alright, so let's see. How many stories are in this one? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Alright, there are 10 stories contained within this book. You, high quality bread, choose a number between 1 and 10, and whichever number that is the story I will read. I used to have another one of these back when I was a kid. It was the Halloween one that came with like the special makeup set on the side. It had like the glow in the dark fangs. Had some goop you'd put into a little fake wound that came with it. Had like some masking putty or whatever that you could put on your face. That was my absolute favorite Goosebumps book for the longest time. It was one of the few that I actually got from the Scholastic Book Fair back when that was a thing back in my day. But again, remember, 1 through 10. You can just pick at random. It doesn't really matter. Let's see. And while you're doing that, reader beware. You're in for 10 more scares. Can Jeff convince his parents there's a live mummy in the basement? Will Adam escape from a monstrous flying gargoyle? Is Brandon's boarding school turning kids into robots? Find out in these 10 creepy Goosebumps short stories, guaranteed to make you shiver. 3. Alright. 3. Chapter 3. Ooh. Don't Wake Mummy. That sounds like an interesting one. Alright, page 25. Let's see if I can get there without the book disintegrating on me. There we are. Don't Wake Mummy. Let's see, how long is this? 4, 5, 6. Okay. Here we go. The day the delivery man brought a mummy case to our house, I tried not to act scared. I knew my older sister, Kim, would tease me forever if she knew how I felt. "Oh, a coffin," Kim said. "Are you scared, Jeff?" Kim thinks that just because she's 13 and I'm only 11, that I'm some kind of scaredy cat. She's always jumping out at me and trying to spook me. That's Kim's only hobby, teasing me and telling me I'm a wimp. Dad is the curator of the town museum, so I've seen a lot of mummy cases at the museum. This was the first one delivered to our house. It was all a big mistake, but Mom had the men carry it into the basement. She warned us not to go near it. After the men left, Kim and I stood at the top of the stairs, looking down into the basement. "I've heard about these mummies," Kim said, narrowing her eyes. "They wake up at night and search for prey." "I don't believe you," I said. "No, really," she insisted. "Mummies are jealous of living people, so they creep around after dark and steal the life from people." "Well, that mummy isn't stealing anyone's life. That box is chained up tight." "You know, Jeff, the worst thing about you is that you're such a wimp," Kim declared. "I am not," I protested. "If you're not a coward, then why don't you go down there and check out the mummy?" she demanded. "No way," I told her. "Are you crazy? You heard what Mom said." "Why don't you go down there and touch the box?" "Touch it one time. I bet you're too scared to even do that," she said. "Fine," I said. "I'll do it." I regretted it even before the words finished coming out of my mouth. Poor Jeff. The light switch was broken in the basement, so it was dark down there. It even smelled dark, like clay. I walked down the stairs slowly. The box sat in the middle of the room. Everything was covered in a layer of dust, but that box was spotless. The lid was so glossy it seemed to glow. Step by step, I drew closer to the coffin. The only sound I could hear was the beating of my own heart. The air felt cold and moist. I rubbed my chilly, sticky palms together, working up my courage. You can do it, I told myself. There's nothing to be afraid of. I reached out my hand and to touch the shiny black box, and the lid moved. The chains clanked. My heartbeat stopped for a moment. I couldn't help it. I screamed. Then I turned back and hurtled up the stairs without looking back. The basement door was shut. Kim had closed it behind me. I threw my body against it and burst into the kitchen. Kim sat at the dinner table laughing at me. "The mummy's alive!" I shouted. "The chains rattled. The lid moved." She roared with laughter. "You're such a jerk." She strode over to the basement door, threw it open, and peered down at the box. There's nothing to see," she announced. She was right. The lid was closed. The chains were in place. My imagination had tricked me. My imagination has tricked me again. Or had it? I had a hard time getting to sleep that night. No matter how I twisted my body, I couldn't get comfortable. I hate nights like that. Why couldn't I sleep? I looked around my room. Everything was in its place. My books stood up straight on the bookshelf. My computer sat on my desk, casting a shadow over a pile of notebooks. I'd thrown my clothes onto the floor, and they were clumped together near the closet door. Go to sleep, I told myself. Everything is fine. But then I heard... I sat up in bed. It sounded like someone dropped the phone book on the floor. I waited. I listened. Again. What could it be? There was a rhythm to the sounds, one after another, sort of like footsteps. Each heavy sound was a footstep, and the steps were coming closer. Then I heard an eerie clanking. I strained to hear better. Clank. My heart raced. It was a chain. Clank. I gasped. The mummy. Searching for a victim. Searching for me. I screamed for the second time that day. I heard someone running. The door swung open. The mummy! It had long, tangled robes and wild, frizzy hair. I screamed again and dove under the covers. Shh, a voice said softly. Shh, honey, everything's fine. I'm here now. Huh? Mom? Wearing her terry cloth robe. She sat down on the edge of the bed and rubbed my neck. Did you have a nightmare? She asked me. No, I exclaimed. The mummy is out. I heard it coming for me, coming up the stairs. You had a bad dream. That's all. Mom bent over and kissed me on top of the head. She smelled like cinnamon and soap. I listened to her footsteps padding off down the hall. The soft sound of her slippers made on the floor was nothing like the heavy steps I'd heard before. I wanted to believe her, but I knew what I had heard. The mummy was out. It would be coming for me again. The next day, I biked to the library to try and find out how to protect myself from mummies. Would you believe that the only books they had on mummies were scary novels and art history books? Not one practical how-to book. I pushed my bike home through the town, and I noticed a new shop on Main Street. The sign read, Sam Bones Mystical Merchandise. In the window, a tapestry was laid out with all sorts of crystals spread on it. Through the glass, I could see a guy, sitting up at the counter, leafing through a big book. He had long, bushy hair and a beard. Maybe he could help me. No one else was taking me seriously. What did I have to lose? I locked my bike up on a no parking sign. Then I pushed open the door to Sam Bones Mystical Merchandise. A tiny set of chimes hanging in the door rang out. Good afternoon, sir, the man said, hopping off the counter and closing his book. How may I be of service? Are you Sam Bone? I asked him. The only one. The one and only, he said, doing a corny little bow. I'm looking for some information on mummies, I said hesitantly. Is this for some kind of school project? He asked me. Or are you planning a trip to Egypt, perhaps? No, you see, my dad is the curator at the Museum of Natural History here in town. We had a mummy delivered to our house by mistake. The whole story poured out of me. When I finished, Sam Bone began pacing up and down the crowded aisles of the store. Every so often he would grab a book off the shelf and rip through it, searching for something. Or he would rummage through a box full of oils or candles or crystals. Of course, he shouted suddenly. I've got it. He disappeared into a back room for a moment. When he returned, he was grinning from ear to ear. He held a closed fist in front of my face, and then opened his fingers, one by one. On his palm laid a small purple sack, with pictures of golden eyes sewn all over it. Sam opened the neck of the pouch, and poured a tiny bit of blue powder into his hand. Mummy dust, he exclaimed. This is an ancient mix of minerals. It is said that the Egyptians would scatter this dust around the entrances to keep the tombs to keep the spirits from crossing into the world of the living. One puff of this dust and a mummy loses its power. He then blew the dust right into my face. I coughed. The dust smelled bitter and old. I'll take it, I shouted. How much does it cost? This is where it's going to cost a pretty penny. Would you believe the mummy dust costs $20? Aren't you scared to be in the kitchen, Jeff? Kim teased me during dinner. After all, the basement door is right there. She gestured over her shoulder. Doesn't it bother you that down in that box there's a dead body all wrapped up? She rose from her chair and started staggering around the kitchen like a mummy. He's waiting for the night to fall so that he can sneak up to your room and... Shut up, I cried. What is her problem, anyway? That's enough, Dad groaned. Kim, you're not funny. Stop scaring Jeff. While our parents were doing the dishes, I scooped out the ice cream. Kim leaned over the table and whispered, If you think you're so cool, wait until tonight. What are you talking about? I demanded. You know, she teased. The mummy. I heard it last night, too, you know. I also heard you screaming like a baby. So I didn't imagine those sounds. Kim had heard them, too. I'm not worried, I replied. I'm protected. I'm not scared at all. Yeah, right, Kim said. We'll see about that. After dinner, after everyone went to bed, I lay awake. Let me try that again. After everyone went to bed, I lay awake. It was chilly in my room. A storm picked up outside. The glass in the windows began to shudder as a sharp wind started up. I wonder if it went bzee, bzee, bzee. I clutched my pillow, waiting. I gripped the pouch of mummy dust in my right hand. The feel of the small sack in my palm reassured me. Rain drummed at the window. The room filled with white light. Thunder crashed outside. Then I heard it. From the room below me, from the kitchen, the sound terrified me. Clank. I heard a low, wailing moan. Was it the wind or the mummy? The mummy was coming for me, but I wasn't going to wait for it. I jumped from my bed and threw open my bedroom door. I couldn't stop shaking, but I made myself step out into the upstairs hall. Crash! Lightning lit up the hallway for a second. No mummy in sight. Clank. I grabbed the banister and jumped down the stairs, 2 at a time. My feet felt all prickly as they hit the polished wooden floor in front of me, of the front hall. I turned the corner toward the kitchen. Something blocked my way. The mummy! Too scared to scream, my throat jammed up. There it stood, in the shadows of the hall. The mummy hunched over, its face wrapped in strips of cloth. Its skinny arms hung limply at its sides. The arms were weighed down by hands that were huge, gnarled claws, wrapped in layers and layers of cloth. The chains from the case were draped over its shoulders. They clanked as the mummy lurched up to me. Through the gauze over its head, I saw the mummy's evil grin. Quick! I tore my eyes away from the ancient monster. I fumbled with the powder, struggled to get the pouch open. It was tied in a knot. My fingers shook too hard to open it. The mummy moaned a low, ugly moan and reached its arms out to me. Huge, hideous claws, reaching. Finally, the knot gave way. I turned over the pouch to empty the dust into my palm. Grunting, the mummy swung both arms at me. I lifted my hands to guard my face. The rotting cloth brushed against my skin. I stumbled back. I hit the floor hard. My teeth clashed together. The dust! I dropped it! The pouch fell to the floor, spilling the dust all over. I scrambled to scratch up a handful. The mummy growled. Lightning flashed. The ancient mummy flickered in the jagged white light. Again I saw its evil leering grin. "Who's there?" boomed my mother's voice from the top of the stairs. The mummy stepped away from me. The hall light flashed on. To my shock, the mummy turned around and ran. I couldn't believe it. Mom had saved me. The mummy staggered to the basement door. It disappeared into the basement. I slammed the door behind it. Then I grabbed a chair and tried to wedge it under the handle the way they do in the movies. Mom rushed into the kitchen, tying the sash of her robe. Dad stumbled in behind her, fumbling with his glasses. "What on earth is going on down here, Jeff?" she demanded. "Mom, the mummy, it's alive!" I gasped. "It's coming to get me, I swear. I trapped it in the basement right now." "This has gone far enough," said my mother. "Larry, for once and for all, tell your son that mummies are dead and don't stumble around at night." "Well, actually, there's something I didn't tell you," he replied, rubbing his chin. "You see, there's a rumor that this mummy is alive. Really. I thought it was a joke." "Huh?" Mom and I both cried. Dad explained, "The mummy was given to us by another museum. They didn't want it anymore because the night guard said the mummy rose after dark to wander the halls. But the curator promised me that there would be no problem, as long as nobody took the chains off the box. The mummy couldn't come alive unless someone takes the chains off." "Jeff, did you take the chains off the box?" Mom demanded anxiously. No, I didn't," I exclaimed. Of course not." Dad jumped up as if stung by a hornet. "We've got to lock that thing in," he cried. He searched the drawers till he found a heavy padlock, then he locked the basement door with a loud snap. "I'm so sorry," Dad said, hugging Mom. "I can't believe I put my family in danger. I never thought the rumor might be true." "I'm sorry I didn't believe you, Jeff," Mom said, turning to me. They tucked me in upstairs. With the mummy safely locked up, I quickly fell asleep. "Wow, it's really dark in here, Dad. It's really dark in here. Dad should fix the light. I can hardly see my way down these stairs. This basement is creepy. I can't wait until Jeff and my folks go to bed so I can get out of here and go upstairs to sleep. Oh man, I almost got caught. But it was worth it. Just to see the look on my brother's face when I reached out to grab him. He almost fainted, little wimp. Kim, you are so mean, but he asks for it. He really does." Ooh. Kim. "Okay, sounds as if they're gone. I'll sneak back upstairs." The door's stuck. Really hard. It won't open. I must have locked it. "Mom? Dad? Hello? Can you hear me? It's me, Kim. I'm locked in the basement." No. The wind is too loud. The storm is making too much noise. I can't believe this. "Dad? Mom? Jeff? Somebody?" They can't hear me. This is awful. I'm stuck down here for the whole night. Well, I guess these old sheets will keep me warm. I can even wrap the gauze back around my face the way I had it before. Of course, this chain is completely useless. Maybe it wasn't such a good idea to take the chain off the mummy case. Oh no. She's about to get hers. But mummies have to have chains. But mummies have to have chains. Everybody knows that. Actually, no, it's Frankenstein's monsters, zombies, and ghosts. Mummies don't need that. They got all that gauze. They're fine. Good. Some lightning from outside. I can see where to sleep. Is that our old couch over there? Whoa. Wait a minute. The lid to the coffin, it's off. I didn't move the lid when I took off the chains. How did that happen? Who opened the mummy case? The end. Okay, that was actually a lot better than I was expecting it to be. You can buy my comic there. It's Booter Guy. I'm a very good artist. And yep, you definitely woke that mummy. Okay, so to answer your questions in order, you asked me originally who's my favorite dummy. Are you talking about from my personal collection or just in general? Thank you. Thank you. Let's go ahead and put that off to the side for the moment. After all that reading, I need another drink. Hopefully the camera didn't pick that up. And don't worry, just because this one's empty does not mean the show is over. Still have this extra one. Alright, so for my personal collection, my favorite puppet, my favorite dummy. Well, I would have to say that my favorite, it's one that I haven't really gotten to use yet in my videos. I've used it for the channel trailer right here on YouTube. That would be my 1966, I want to say, Jerry Mahoney with the moving eyes. I still need to do some work on him and actually get him up and working, like properly. But as he sits right now, he's my favorite just because of one very specific reason. I wanted that puppet so bad for so many friggin' years. For a second there, I thought I was just like recording this because I've got my usual recording camera right up there. But I was going to go like, as seen in this video right over here, but I can't quite do that. In that YouTube video, The Toys That Got Away, I did during Oxmas last year, I think. How I was talking about how I wanted that particular puppet so bad because he reminded me of TV Slappy, you know, with the orange hair and the green eyes. And then fast forward a couple months from that, and I actually wound up finding one on Facebook Marketplace for a price I was willing to pay. And then, after a transaction of money via the internet, I finally got him. So I would say my 1966 Moving Eyes Jerry Mahoney is in fact my personal favorite. But who would be my least favorite dummy? It's a bit of a tough one, because I kind of like all of my puppets. But least favorite. And no, I'm not looking at my puppets. They're in the other room. I'm just thinking and looking up at the ceiling. Least favorite. I would have to say, just throwing out a personal character that I have that's not my personal favorite would be... Sorry, I'm grasping at straws at the moment, because like I said, I don't really dislike any of them. There's none that's really my least favorite. But if I had to say it, then I had to say probably my 1955 little Jerry Mahoney with the pull string that comes out of the back of the neck. It's nothing personal against the thing. It's just in such bad shape. It's so well loved. And it takes so much for me to actually, bring myself up to dealing with it. And by dealing with it, I mean actually using it, because I'm afraid I'm going to break the poor thing. Like, all the paint's chipping off of the head, the hands are missing, it's only got its original suit jacket and dicky, the pants and shoes are gone. I kind of love it for that, but at the same time, just I feel bad trying to use it because I'm afraid I'm just gonna pull the string one too many times and the composition head is just gonna explode or something. So that would be my quote unquote least favorite. Need a little more water. And I believe I saw earlier you were asking where to buy a cheap puppet or a cheap dummy. Are you talking about the ones where you put your hand in the back and you can operate it by pulling the lever and what have you? Or are you talking about just like the soft-bodied cloth ones like Knucklehead over here, where it's got like a string coming out of the back of the neck and you just hold it up and go like yak 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 yak? Which dummy? Oh, thank you for reminding me. I actually got a little distracted with that. Which puppet will I use? I don't actually know right off the top of my head. So, while I await your... I got myself so off track. Okay, so you are talking about the one with the head stick, with the lever. Okay. Honestly, where I've gotten some of mine, well, no, I can't really say that I've gotten them for cheap. Well, cheap compared to some other things. Facebook Marketplace, if you can find one on there. eBay doesn't really work for that because everyone knows how much these puppets are worth on eBay, or they think they do. So they put them up for high prices. Okay, so if you're looking for a Slappy like that, I think I actually do know one site. It's not the cheapest, but he's a lot cheaper than you could find, say, on eBay or something. Give me one moment here. Okay, click there. Let's see, Google real quick. I'll get you the link. The website in question is called Throw Things. They have one section of the site that's specifically for ventriloquist puppets and stuff. And if you're looking for one that is just the head stick, you're not worried if the eyes or the eyebrows move, you just want the mouth to move and the head to be on a stick, they do have Slappy like that on this site. Okay, their prices went up a little bit. Not gonna lie, he's just about $175. So I'll go ahead and get the link for you. Copy. And then we minimize this page. We come back over here. And boop. Alright, but, oh, you want me to use Slappy? You are quite welcome. But you're saying you'd like me to use Slappy for this quick little skit, this quick little video? Now I await your response. Inspector Gadget. Let's check in on the little one. Seems like it's still doing okay. Oh, all right. Take your time. All right, and no worries. I can use Slappy, so I'll be right back. I'm gonna go grab him. But before I wander off, I'll go ahead and put up the be right back screen for you. There we are. So, hello. Why don't you say hello to our friend? Which one? That one over there. Let's see. It's high quality dread. Well, hello there, high quality dread. And yes, I know I'm saying dread instead of dread, but blame it on him. I keep telling him he needs to practice, but the Jake just won't do it. You and your hobbies, I swear. Yeah. Like you should talk, Dusty. The name's Slappy. Yeah, your name's Slappy, but you're covered in dust. Well, again, that's your fault. You're the one who doesn't put a sheet or anything on the knee and the duddies. He's back. Hello. Ah, well, hello yourself. Oh, and in case you's been wanting to take out the tutlet like myself, a dunny like me, although I shouldn't be using that word, it's a bit of a cultural, what's the word I'm looking for? Let's just say it's not the nicest word in the world. But, yeah, if you wanted to get a tutlet like myself, I'm pretty pricey, as he would tell you. What, you want me to, you want to tell them what it, yeah? What, are you embarrassed or something? No. What's he saying there? Ooh, no. Oh. Yeah, with Jerry around, you don't want to say that word. Trust me. He gets kinda psycho. I swear, he's a worse loser than you. Are you calling me a... Yes. Slappy. Yeah, Bozo. Got any thoughts on Bozo there, Slap? Yeah, he's an alright guy, you know. He's kind of weird. All the odd things he does, like, what is it? The whole Dungeons and Dragons thing. But I also play Dungeons and Dragons. Uh-huh. Yeah, where do you think I got the props for that video? Just keep digging that whole detail for yourself, don't you? You're getting one for Christmas. Getting what? You getting a dozo? A dozo the clown? Let's see what he says. You said it. Said what? What you talking about? You can't truth nothing. I think it's because you said the word. Did I say the Spanish word, the one? I think you did, Slappy. But I think you might be lucky this time. I think Jerry's asleep. I try you're right. I don't want to go back through that again. No. Oh, you's getting a slappy for Christmas. Well, good for you, kiddo. Well, you're not getting me. You're getting one of my cousins, you know. I got an extended family. You said... Well, I'm not going to say that again. Trust me, kid. If you knew the things I had to go through because of that joke, all because of that silly little card game. Slappy nor like slap. Listen, you. I ain't no droid. You see? I ain't got no wings. All I got's this guy's hand up my back. By the way, your lips are new than hardcore, Ducko. Yeah, well, as you and our audience already knows, I need to do a lot more practicing. Yeah, I know. You say it all the time. Every time you're using the one of my duties, I just gotta keep practicing. I love you, Slappy. Also, what about Pinocchio? You talking about the weirdo with the long nose, or you talking about something else? Bloody dude. Oh, jeez. Yeah, Duty's a pretty good guy. Just a very, very unfortunate name. Doy, oh doy. But, what do you mean, what about Pinocchio? Talking about the new movie the Disney's putting out? Or you talking about the one Guillermo del Toro's putting out? What you talking about? Honestly, I'm not sure. You can take the wig off. You're just wondering. This ain't a wig. This is my own natural hair. What are you talking about? Well, is he talking about you, old man? I ain't got no wig. I barely have any hair. You can say that again. Okay, I don't have any hair. I didn't mean it literally. Let's see. Norton Sneyd and Charlie Nakasi. What about them? What's my thoughts on Tanuk? Well, unfortunately, I ain't seen those movies just yet. But I will say, from the movie trailers that I've seen, given that there's like 3 freaking Pinocchio movies coming out soon, the Guillermo del Toro one looks the best. The one computer generated one, not the Disney one, the other one. Ugh, that one just looks rough. But the Disney one, it looks okay. I might not see it. He might, but who knows? Got any other questions, Sony? High quality bread? Chucky Chucky or Dilly? Are you talking about the puppet from Jigsaw, or are you talking about the one from Dead Silence? Because, little known fact, the puppet from Saw was actually also named Dilly. So, which one? So you can answer that question, I can answer yours. I mean, how you take... Oh, that's what you're saying. This question's for you. Oh, okay, that one's... How do you take... Well, this particular little fella right here, who you calling little? I know it ain't the size that counts. It's a kid. You shouldn't be making jokes like that. Regardless, dead silence. Okay, after he finishes answering your question, then I'll answer this one. Alright? Alright. You was saying? Okay, so, as I was saying, this particular puppet right here, this particular Slappy, didn't actually come with a wig on him. He was the, what was it, pretty sure it was the Suited Deluxe model made to go along with the second Goosebumps movie. Yeah, that's the one. It's also the reason why my eyes are brown and not green like those other guys. So, I've got Goosebumps. Reading is a screen. Yeah. Yeah, it is. You learn all kinds of things from reading books. Good and bad. But mostly good things. Alright, now to answer your other question. It's... Wrong trigger there, dork. Let's see. How do you control the... Watch it with that oid, you. But, how do I control the puppet? That's a better oid for it. But how I control the puppet is, well, hold on. But I'm trying to answer too many questions at once. Okay. So, let's see. Remember he was asking you the question, Chucky or Billy from Dead Silence? Oh, yeah, that one. Let me see here. I'd probably say Chucky. Because, you know, that dude, he's done through a lot. And I mean, whoa. Let's see you try to use the eyebrow trigger again. And I mean, whoa. There we go. That's better. Now, I would definitely have to say Chucky, he's definitely better than Dilly. Because Dilly wasn't even working on his own accord. He was just still being controlled by Nelly Shaw the entire movie. Chucky, he's got something else going on. That dude's going places. Not to mention he's got his own show. What's going on over here? How do I feel after Horrorland? Well, it was a lot of fun going on all the rides, dealing with the Horrorland horrors and all that. And it was also fun getting to torture that girl again. Carly. No. You're getting it all wrong, guy. Carly Deathless from the Haunted Mask. What was her name? Sam? Anyway, it was fun getting to deal with those dorks again. And then, of course, at the end, actually getting to get out of Terra Park. That was fun. Or are you referring to something else? Yeah. Who you calling a dunny? Dunny? Watch it there, Dud. You put my head down kinda hard. Sorry there, Slappy. But how do I control the dummy? The heck did you just say? Tunk. I said puppet. I said puppet. You sure did, you jerk. But how do I control the puppet? There is a head stick inside of a wooden body that allows me to control this. So let me see. Going to go ahead and, with your permission, may I remove your head? For the sake of, what's the word? Education. For the sake of education, you can remove my head. All right. Let's see where. It's a little bit of an awkward process. Okay, I was trying to take the bands off the wrong way. Where was I? Come on now. Okay, there's 1, 2, 3, and there. Okay. Just gotta finagle a couple of things inside so I can actually remove the head. And does it lean forward or lean it back? There we go. Okay. So there's the body. We'll just set you over there. Now, how to actually make the head and everything move? On this particular ventriloquist puppet, there's only 3 different movements. There's the standard mouth movement, blah, 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 blah. There's the standard eye movement, or eyebrow movement, wiggle, 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 wiggle. And then there's the standard eye movement. Doop, doop, doop. I'll give you a little up-close and personal look. Like, here's the eye lever, or the eyebrow lever. Pull that, and the eyebrows go up, and then they come back down. And here's the eyeball lever. Push it this way, and they turn like that. Push it the other way, and they turn like that. And on this particular Slappy, I don't know if they did this intentionally, but if you turn the eyes too far in one direction, they get stuck, like that. So you got to give him a little bop to get his eyes to recenter. And of course, as you already saw, when you pull on the trigger for the mouth, blah, 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 blah. And with these particular Slappy puppets, this guy originally started off life like the Slappy that you currently have, the basic Slappy you said you've got. See, because he's got the hole in the back of his head for the string. There's a company, I already shared the link to it, the throwthings.com people. They have a guy who will take these puppets apart, and then they will carve out the plastic eyes and kind of take the painted on eyebrows, and they'll just like Dremel them off. If you look real closely, you can kind of make out, like right along his eyebrow over here, how he's got a bunch of little grooves and stuff in there. That's where they took a Dremel tool and just, carved that off and put in the moving eyebrows and such. And then they wind up having to cut off the head, or not the head, the hair. If you look really closely, like right along the hairline here, you can just about make out the seam where they had to cut it all off. And then if you see these shiny spots all around, that's where they had to super glue it back on. So, yeah. That is how I works. That is how I work Slappy. You don't like me, I like you, Dunny. Also, you happen to notice that you keep messing up my voice? I sound like this. You keep making me sound like this. It's weird, but I kinda like it. Hey, Dunk. Hey, Dilgrons. Alright. You want to go back on your body now, Slappy? I was hoping you would ask. And the answer is, and say it with me at home, folks, yes! Alright, don't have to tell me twice. Putting Slappy back together. And this is honestly far easier than taking him apart. Oh, and one thing that I should mention, since I had to basically show it, well, since it's something I had to deal with to get the head off, if you notice these little strings down here, there is a hook on the inside of the body where you stick the head through the neck hole. Give me just a moment while I do so. Once the head is in place, you attach those strings to that metal hook right there. See if I can do this without dropping his head on the floor. Okay, now come on. One. Oh, wait, why'd it come back out? This puppet sometimes, I swear. Okay. One. And then, come on, get in there. Two. And then, come on now. Three. Yes, and last one. There. And then when you get all those little strands in place, then you could basically just hold Slappy by his head and do this. But I don't recommend it, because it's not good for those little rubberized strings. It's essentially like a hair tie that they placed in there to hold his head on. As a matter of fact, I think that's exactly what's in there. But, yeah, as I was saying, they take the head off of those puppets, and then I believe they take the original arms and legs off of those puppets after they cut down the body. And then they basically just attach that to a padded wooden box for a chest, as I think I demonstrated before. Your car is licking... What? I guess that's a typo. You meant to say your cat is licking my hair, right? Rocky the Dunny. Well, let me see here. Rocky the Dummy. What about Rocky the Dummy? You know what he's talking about? I think he means the guy from the third book. The, you know. Well, he might be also talking about the guy from the third episode, or the book. Pardon me. I think there's something wrong with you. I do too. But, I think he's talking about the character from the episode based on that book. Oh yeah, the gangsta guy. Never go against the family. Yeah, that guy. And nearly, because he's nothing like the guy in the book. That guy was like some tough guy, you know, like one of those 1950s greaser dudes. Goes with a loom. Goes with a loom. Unfortunately, we do not. Ah, well. Got anything else you want to say to the high quality bread there before I wrap this up? And kind of putting me on the spot here, aren't you? Yeah, just Good one. You got any final words? Don't rush me. Don't rush me. Let me think. Let me think. Goes with a electricity loom. No, still don't know it. Sorry, dude. But anyway, I hope you have a good night. I gotta get going. Got a game of cards I gotta play with the other guys. Maybe even a game of Dot It. Who knows? Goodness knows they still owe me a lot of money through the last game of Dot that we played. Freaking Dozo ripped me off. Seriously, why did he have to open the door right then? I was winning too. I'm sure you were, Slappy. I'm sure you were. But yeah, high quality thread. Keep up doing the YouTube thing if that's what you want to do. And stay safe out there. Also, in case this joke doesn't bring me on stream or anything again before this happens, have a slappy Halloween. Alright. Later, Slappy. Later. Alright. No, well, I'm not ending the stream just yet. I'm just, having Slappy go off. I still have to pick a name for our spider friend over here. So one moment while I go and put Slappy back with the other puppets. Hopefully you're still there. So now let's go right on ahead and see about picking a name. What's going to be a good name? Come on, computer, let me do the thing. Scrolling up, scrolling up. Chucky or Billy. Blah blah blah. Do 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 Okay, here we go. Oh, Fury. Fury. Harry Fury. Kind of like Mary Curie. I like it. All right. Harry Fury. Harry Fury. Okay. Harry Fury. So that I don't forget, I've got to write that down somewhere. I know. I'll message it to someone. Let's take a looky-loo. Who should I send that message to? Harry Fury. Alright. We've got a name for the spooder. They shall now be known as Harry Fury. Alright. I really like that name. Okay. So, what episode should it? I'm glad you like that name too. Just those two words really stick together. I really like how they came out. Thank you very much, high quality bread. And you can consider this if you want to. This can be my shout out to your channel. So, not Harry, high quality bread, everyone. But yes, let's see. What episode should I make for the dummy head? Knucklehead is what... I was going to say, did he move while I was gone? But obviously you wouldn't have been able to see that because there was a jack-o'-lantern in the way. But which one? I've got two Knucklehead Smith puppets. Is it this Knucklehead or is it the other Knucklehead? Alright, well, let's see. What episode should I make for the dummy show and what should it be called? Honestly, whatever you want to make, you know, as long as it winds up within the YouTube. What am I trying to say here? As long as it doesn't go against YouTube's guidelines, and yeah, as long as nobody gets hurt. No, like nobody actually gets hurt. If it's all done in fun, you know, like makeup and effects and stuff, that's fine. But I honestly don't know. When it comes to the stuff that I personally make, it's literally I'll get an idea for something, and if I have the opportunity, I'll just do it. Like, legitimately, most of my puppet videos leading up to Bloody Duty, all of those were just spur of the moment. I didn't write anything down. Excuse me, I didn't write anything down. I literally just was like, aha! I grabbed my camera, grabbed the puppets, and just went with it. Completely off the cuff, no script. In some cases, it turned out pretty well. In other cases, like Bozo's Day Out, your results may vary. That's why a lot of my videos, a lot of those older videos, the one behind me. You alive back there, Knucklehead? Yeah, no thanks to you. Just fun, but I have one dummy. Alright, well, you said you've got Slappy, right? Go ahead and do something Slappy themed, like something Goosebumps themed. If that's what you feel like. I don't know. People don't usually come to me for creative advice like this, but yeah, just if you can come up with a scenario, something you think Slappy would do, or something Slappy would have done in either like the books or like in the movies, or heck, if you want to, you can even go ahead and go with like the Goosebumps TV show version of Slappy, something he would do. Just be creative. That's the main thing when it comes to like making videos. Just be creative, let your mind run wild, and go ahead and just make something that you're proud of. Which is something I've been striving to do since day one. Over 13 years ago? 14 years ago. Holy cow. But yeah, just do something that makes you go, yeah, I did that. Alright, so I'm going to grab myself another drink of water here. I wonder how long we've been streaming. Pardon me. A little droplet went down the wrong pipe. Let's see here, though. Because I'm curious now, how long is it that we have been streaming? Let's see, spider. Okay, it doesn't actually say how long I've been streaming. And that's fine. That is absolutely a-okay with me. You made a movie on your channel. Okay. Well, send me the link and I'll give it a view. Now, unfortunately, because of the way YouTube is, I can't really do like a reaction on it, but, you know, I can give my thoughts on it. But here shortly, I am going to have to wrap this up. It's almost 11 o'clock, right? Yeah, oh, wow. Yeah, it's in my time zone, it's that time, so I got to wrap this up because I got stuff I got to do tomorrow, unfortunately. It's Slappy's night. I am making a second one in November. Ooh. All right. Very nice. But here. Just for my own sake, I'm gonna go ahead and look that up now. Not that you'll be able to see from your end. Just because my software is being dumb and for whatever reason it's not letting me have my face up here in this like top corner over here and have the video down here. It's not letting me do that for some reason. Alright, so go to this. Go to this. I don't know. I don't want to search on my channel. Goofy thing. Okay. Click that. Alright, so high quality BREAD in all caps. There you are. Slappy's night. Made it just under 2 weeks ago. Interesting. Alright, yeah, I will definitely give that video a watch. I've got it up over here, and, well, let's see if I can do this without destroying everything. But to prove that I did actually pull up your video, pardon the light, there you go. Get everything back centered the way I had it, or close to. There we are. But I will definitely be giving that video a watch. So there we are. Hold on. Oh, you were probably getting me the link, weren't you? But I put the microphone on the floor. You can probably barely hear me. Okay. Readjust this thingy. There. Also, how's the sound been during the course of this video? The last time I tried to do one of these videos with my old webcam, which is supposed to have a microphone in it, but it's very mute for some dumb reason lately. So I'm using like this actual stand-up USB microphone for this one. So do let me know, has the audio been at a decent level this whole time? I haven't been like going in and out. Oh, didn't realize you left. My sincerest apologies. But a few seconds ago, I actually went over to your channel and I pulled up that video, the Slappy's night, and I will be watching it. Unfortunately, I can't do like a reaction right now because, well, I think I said already that I got stuff I got to do tomorrow, and it's nearing 11 o'clock where I am. Pardon. Also, I was asking how the sound, how has the sound been this whole time? I'm trying a different microphone. And the awkward waiting for the latency, waiting for this to be over there. Do 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 da 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 dum. Day-o, day-o, daylight come and me one go home. Very nice. In which case, I guess I should say, hi, Slappy's cousin. So, has the sound for this episode, for this stream, has that been decent this whole time? Oh, okay, now you're responding to that. All right. Good, good. In which case, disregard this. Disregard that question right there. It's already been answered. Good. All right. So, with that said, my dear viewer, should I read one more story? Should I just read one more story before I cut this for the night? I'm leaving the decision up to you. Okay. So, in that case, should it be scary stories or another one from this Goosebumps book? Yes, please. Okay, but Goosebumps or Scary Stories Treasury? Oh, one final bump. Okay, one final bump. And again, I'm letting you choose. We read story number 3, I believe it was. So 1 through 10, not counting story number 3. Which one shall I read? Goose is gonna bump ya. Goose is gonna bump ya. Do 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 da 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 boop ba da doop da. Do 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 do. Copyright infringement. Do do do. All right, story number 10. Let's see, what have you chosen for me? The Thumbprint of Doom. I like that title. All right, page 113. 113. All right, there we go. Goose flumps. Nice. Okay, so the Thumbprint of Doom. Let's see, how many pages is this? 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, it's a bit of a lengthy read, but we'll get through it. Cheese and Barfstone. Ah, that Goosebumps parody series. Nice. Okay, so the thumbprint of doom. And since this is the last one for the night, I'm going to do this in my Oktoberfest voice, if that's alright. So here we go. Let's go swimming in the lake, I suggested. Trisha, you already said that. Can't you think of anything else to do? Jeremy asked. Harold doesn't want to go swimming. He's afraid. I was afraid too. Afraid of what was going to be... Afraid of what this... Bleh. Afraid that this was going to be the most boring summer of my life. Usually I go to sleepaway camp... I was reading that right. Usually I go to sleepaway camp in the summer, but not this year. This year I thought it would be fun to hang out with my best friend Jeremy. I thought wrong. I didn't know his cousin Harold was visiting for 2 months. Nerdy Harold. Ugh, we're all 12, but Harold seems a lot younger. Probably because he's really, really short. That's kind of rude. Because he's really, really short. The total opposite of me and Jeremy. What are you afraid of anyway? I asked Harold, tightening my ponytail. We were walking around the block for the 3rd time, trying to decide what to do. Yeah, what are you afraid of? Jeremy asked. Fungus. What? Jeremy and I shouted together. Fungus, Harold repeated. You know, those tiny plants that live in the water? The ones that are so small you can't see them? So what about them? I asked. Well, I don't like things I can't see, Harold mumbled. I'm doomed, I thought, staring at Harold. This really was going to be the worst summer of my life. How about movies? Had Jeremy suggested. Harold said okay, so we headed for town. We had walked halfway down the block when I spotted her. Look, I said, turning to Jeremy, there's the new girl. Her family moved in last week. Mom says she's our age. Let's go say hi. I stared at the girl as we walked over. She was really pretty. Her long, skinny black hair hung down to her waist, and her skin was a beautiful olive color. She wore khaki shorts and a matching t-shirt. Hi, I called when we reached her yard. You're my new neighbor. I live over there, I said, pointing to my house. I'm Carla, she said, introducing herself, striding across the lawn in her bare feet. We just moved in. Carla glanced at Jeremy, then at Harold. Then she had the brightest green eyes I'd ever seen. I'm Trisha. This is Jeremy and Harold. We're going to the movies, I said. Want to come? I'd really like to, Carla started, but I can't. My horoscope says I shouldn't go anywhere today. You believe that stuff? I asked. Well, I'm kind of into it. I'm pretty superstitious, she said. You mean you're afraid of black cats and stuff? Harold asked. Harold is only afraid of things he can't see, I told her. Jeremy shoved his elbow into my side. Carla didn't seem to notice. She continued. Well, I'm not afraid of black cats, but some things. Have you ever heard of the thumbprint of doom? The thumbprint of doom, I repeated. We shook our heads no. Well, if someone puts it on your forehead, Carla explained, lowering her voice to a whisper, you're doomed. Something horrible will happen to you in less than 24 hours. Do you really believe that? I asked. Yes, she replied. Yes, I do. It's the thing I'm most afraid of. We have to go, Harold stammered. We're going to be late for the movie. Okay, see you around, Carla said. The 3 of us hurried away. Boy, was she weird, Jeremy snickered. Totally, I agreed. Then I waved my arms over my head and started shrieking, Oh, the thumbprint of doom! I jabbed my thumb onto Jeremy's forehead, hard. Jeremy chased me down the street trying to give me the thumbprint of doom. Then we both raced after Harold. We tackled him to the ground and gave him the double thumbprint of doom. The next day, Jeremy and I headed down to the lake to go rowing. Harold decided to stay home, to read the dictionary. He says he wants to finish it by Christmas. He's already up to the P's. I convinced myself he was way behind schedule. No, I convinced him he was way behind schedule. You get in first, I told Jeremy when we reached the lake, and set up the oars. Jeremy had a hard time slipping the oars into the oar locks. They were about 100 years old, rotted and warped. The old wood creaked and groaned as I slid the boat into the water. I started to jump in when I heard a scream. A terrified scream. "Trisha, no!" I lost my balance and fell into the lake. I fumbled for the side of the boat, then pulled myself up, gasping for air. Then I threw myself up onto the shore. "Are you okay?" It was Carla. I couldn't speak. I nodded. "Hope I didn't scare you," she said, "but you can't ride a blue canoe on Tuesday." "Huh?" Jeremy cried, helping me up. "It's bad luck," Carla said. "A blue canoe on Tuesday is bad luck for Wednesday." "Carla, you scared me to death," I sputtered. "I don't believe in those weird superstitions. And I don't believe you did such a stupid thing," I muttered under my breath. While I wrung my t-shirt out and poured the water from my new sneakers, Carla apologized. Then the three of us headed home. I wanted to be mad at Carla, but I couldn't. She was convinced that she had saved my life. "Hey, there's Harold," Jeremy pointed out on our way back. Harold was walking down the street, dodging from tree to tree. I'd seen him do that before. He was trying to avoid the dogs, if there were any. "Hey, guys, I finished the peas." He ran up to us. "Isn't that great, Trisha? I finished the peas." Then he shot his arms out and shoved me hard. I fell to the ground and scraped my knees. "Harold!" I screamed. "What did you do that for?" "You are going to step on a crack, see?" he said, pointing to the sidewalk. "So what?" "It's bad luck, Trisha," he exclaimed. "Step on a crack, break your mother's back." "Since when do you believe in superstitions?" Jeremy asked. "Since we met Carla," he said, smiling at her. "I think she makes a lot of sense." This was definitely going to be the worst summer of my life, I thought. But I didn't know how right I was. A few days later, Carla stopped by the baseball fields to watch us play. It was the bottom of the ninth. We were one run behind, and I was up at bat. We already had 2 outs, so I was really nervous. The game was all up to me. I planted my feet on the batter's box and waited for the pitch. It flew past me. So did the next one. 2 strikes. "This is it, Trisha," I told myself. "Concentrate." My eyes were glued to the ball. It was coming. A fastball. My favorite pitch. I started to swing, and... "Trisha!" Carla ran out onto the field. "Don't!" she shrieked, waving her arms high in the air. The ball whizzed past me. "Strike 3!" "Carla!" I screamed. "What is your problem?" "It's 13 minutes after 1 o'clock on Friday the 13th, she said in a rush. "You can't hit a ball now. It would be disaster." "Thanks, Carla," I grumbled. "Thanks a lot." Carla and Harold left right after the game. Jeremy waited for me to collect my stuff from the bench. Then we walked home together. "I can't take it anymore," I complained. "Do you know what Carla did to me yesterday?" Jeremy shook his head no. "She forced me to walk around the fire hydrant 7 times backwards." "Why?" Jeremy asked. "I don't know why, Jeremy. All I know is she's driving me crazy. Those superstitions are ruining my life." Jeremy shrugged. "We've got to show Carla that superstitions are totally dumb, Jeremy. We've got to. The question is, how?" 3 days later, I knew how. I had a plan to cure Carla of her superstitions forever. It was sneaky, but it was good. Friday night after dinner, Jeremy, Harold, and I stopped by her house. "We're riding over to the Jefferson Field Fairgrounds," I told her, "to check out the new carnival. You've got to come." Carla stood in the doorway, holding open the screen door. "Tonight?" She narrowed her eyes, thinking. "No," she finally said, "not tonight. The stars aren't right." We begged and pleaded and finally dragged her out of the house. By the time we reached the fairgrounds, the sun had set. Jefferson Field sparkled in the dark with thousands of colored lights. They decorated a huge Ferris wheel and a giant roller coaster, and they lit up the midway. Carnival music blared everywhere. Bells rang out every time someone won a game. Wow, this is great, Jeremy cried as we walked through the midway, tugging Carla behind us. I spotted a small, dirty white trailer in the back. A sign hung over the door. Madame Wanda sees all. Have your fortune told. Come on, I turned to Carla. Let's see what Madame Wanda says about your future. Bet it isn't as scary as you'd think. No, Carla refused. I'm too scared. We'll go in with you. It'll be a laugh. Bet she tells you some wild things. Carla shook her head no. I'll stay out here with Carla, Harold offered. You two go in. Harold was scared too. Harold is afraid of the future, Jeremy whispered to me, because it's another thing he can't see. We're all going in, I declared, and with that, Jeremy and I pulled Carla and Harold into Madame Wanda's trailer. It was very dark inside, and a sweet odor filled the room. Incense, I guessed. Soft, eerie music surrounded us. A cold green mist swirled through the air. It sent a chill down my spine. If it sent a chin down your spine, what the heck? I guess... No. I turned to Carla. She shivered too. In front of us, a single candle glowed on an old table. Our shadows shifted on the walls in the flickering light. It really was scary in here. Hello? I stammered. No answer. I took a step forward and heard a moan. A low moan. My heart began to race. I glanced at the others. Harold stood frozen in place. Jeremy looked frightened too. In the dim light, I could see his eyes nervously dart around the room. Carla didn't move. The moan grew louder. Let's get out of here, I whispered. I turned to leave, but a breeze from nowhere snuffed out the candle, plunging us into darkness. We screamed, and then we heard the voice. Come forward, it called from the darkened corner. We inched up. My legs trembled. The moaning grew closer. Closer. I want to go, Carla groaned. She bolted for the door, but a hand suddenly reached out and grabbed her. Madame Wanda. The woman struck a match and lit the candle. Sit, she commanded. We sat. She took her place at the table. She was dressed in a shiny black gown, and on her head she wore a dark green turban. I studied her face. Purple veins shot through the whites of her eyes. I couldn't stop staring at her eyes. And those lips. Dark, dramatic lips. She grinned at me, and her lips parted. Her dark eyes glowed, as if seeing right through me. I jumped up, but she yanked me back down. She stared deeply into our eyes. Who will go first? She asked slowly. A trickle of sweat dripped down my forehead. I grabbed Carla's hand and raised it into the air. She will. Carla snatched her hand back, but Madame Wanda reached out and seized it. Carla's hand trembled in Madame Wanda's. Do not be frightened, the fortune teller said. I am only going to reveal your future, nothing more. Madame Wanda held Carla's hand tightly as she peered into her crystal ball. I glanced around the table. Jeremy and Harold sat perfectly still, statues with eyes glued on the crystal ball. Ah, I see something, Madame Wanda murmured. Yes, it is becoming clearer. And then she gasped. We all jumped. Madame Wanda's face filled with horror. Her eyes bulged wide with fear. No, I don't believe what I see in your future, she cried. What is it? Carla screamed. Tell me. I cannot. I have no choice. I cannot allow you to grow old and suffer. She then dropped Carla's hand and pressed her thumb into Carla's forehead. I have given you the thumbprint of doom. No! Carla shrieked. She knocked her chair over and hurtled out of the trailer. We all leapt up and ran after her. We found her leaning against the trailer, gasping for breath. The thumbprint of doom, she murmured. She rubbed her forehead. We laughed. Don't be afraid. It was all a joke, I explained. We just wanted to show you how dumb superstitions really are. Nothing bad will happen to you. You'll see it was all a joke. Yeah, Jeremy added. We paid Madame Wanda this morning. We paid her to say all that and press her thumb to your forehead. I know it was a joke, Carla replied. I knew that woman didn't give me the thumbprint of doom. How did you know? I asked. Because only I have the power, Carla cried. Why do you think I believe in this stuff? Because I know it's all true. I know it's true because I have the power. That's why I'm frightened of it. And now I have no choice. You know my secret. I have no choice. Then Carla dived towards us. Before we could move, she pressed her icy thumb on our foreheads. I've given you all the thumbprint of doom, she cried. I shrieked in horror. Carla grabbed my sleeve with an iron grip. I struggled to pull free, but she held on. Let me go, I cried. Let me go. Carla threw back her head and laughed. A wicked laugh. She yanked on my arm, and a burning pain shot through my body. With a burst of strength, I ripped free, and we ran. We ran from evil Carla. We ran from the carnival. We ran to our doom. Carla watched the 3 kids run off. That was a very mean joke, Carla, Madame Wanda said, stepping out of the trailer. They started it, Carla replied. How long do you think it will take them to realize you have no powers? That you were just playing a trick on them? Carla giggled. They'll figure it out in a day or so. Maybe we'll have a good laugh about it, she said. I'm going to explore the carnival now. What time will you be home? About 10, Madame Wanda replied. Okay, Carla said. See you later, Mom. Any more? Nope. Okay. I like that. I really, really liked the ending of that one. That was a good story. R.L. Stine, Mr. Robert Lawrence Stine, you wrote some gold back in your day, and you're still writing good stories to this day, to my knowledge. Oh, wow. I missed a bunch of things. Happy Holidays from Deadhouse, Slappy New Year, The Haunted Mask Lives. A kid grabbed me in the neck today and hit me, also called me short. I'm back again. Now, is this something that actually happened to you, getting grabbed by the neck and hit and stuff? If so, I must say I'm sorry to hear that. And yes, it is quite a good book. Yeah, believe it or not, I had to deal with a lot of that kind of nonsense growing up. Only I wasn't picked on because I was short. I was either 6 foot tall or close to 6 foot tall before I was even in middle school. So I had to deal with a lot of people who would just pick me out of a crowd because I was the tall, lanky, awkward nerd. It's not fun. It's not fun. Well, trust me on this. That sort of thing may suck now, it may stink, but it won't last forever. Just, well, real talk here. Just gonna get a drink of water, use my normal voice, even though it's like shot right now. For reals though, it may suck at the moment, having to deal with idiots like, well, I shouldn't use idiots, with people like that, who think that, you know, because they're picking on you, they're better than you, and nonsense like that. But, like I said, it's a matter of just having to deal with it. Trying to think of the right words for this, because I was never given the right words. No one ever really tried to help me out with this kind of stuff when I had to deal with that kind of nonsense. Like, there was a point where I actually asked my father at one point, you know, what I should do because all these kids were picking on me. And I forget his exact words, but he basically told me to figure it out for myself. And, well, to kind of paraphrase, kind of quote a line from Nuke's Top Fives, it did not go well. But I'm here. I'm still here all these years later. And if I could deal with that stuff and come out clean on the other side, I'm sure you can too. Just be safe out there. But with that, thank you very much for helping me name Harry Fury over here. That was very cool of you. And with that, high quality bread, I bid you and all of my other viewers a good night.